Here we have a math problem on fundamentals of business mathematics. Okay, let's go to the question. What is the sum of the mean proportion between 1.4 and 35 and the third proportion to 6 and 9? Okay, we have to find the mean proportion between these two numbers 1.4 and 35, and also we have to find the third proportion to these two numbers 6 and 9. Once we get the mean proportion of these two numbers and the third proportion of these two numbers, we have to add them. Okay, now let me say the mean proportion of these two numbers is x, and the third proportion of these two numbers is y. Okay, since x is the mean proportion for these two numbers, we have to insert this x between 1.4 and 35. Then we get 1.4 comma x comma 35. And since this y is the third proportion of these two numbers 6 and 9, we have to write this y the third portion, that is 6 comma 9 comma y. Okay, now we have to form a proportion with these three values. So that is 1.4 to x. Now we have to form a first ratio with the first term and second term. And now we have to form a second ratio with the second term and third term. That is x to 35. So now it's a proportion because two ratios are equal. So the same thing we have to do with this one. That is we have to form a first ratio with the first term and second term. That is 6 to 9. And now we have to form the second ratio with the second term and third term. That is 9 to y. Okay, here we have two proportions. One is over here and other one is over here. In this proportion, we have to solve for x, and in this one, we have to solve for y. Okay, now we can use the cross product rule of proportion. What is cross product rule? That is the product of extremes equals to product of means. So here in this proportion, extremes are nothing but the first term and the last term, and the means are nothing but the middle two terms. Okay, now let's write a product of extremes and product of means. That is 1.4 times 35. That is a product of mean extremes. Sorry. And now on the right side we have product of means. That is we have to multiply the middle two terms, x times x, which is x square. Okay, when I multiply this 1.4 and 35, I am getting 49 equals to x square. Okay, now let's take square root on both sides to get the exponent. Okay, let me take square root on both sides. So here the square root and square will cancel out, and square root of 49 is 7. Okay, here we have x. Okay, now I got the mean proportion between these two numbers 1.4 and 35, that is 7. Okay, now let's solve for y in this one, which is the third proportional to the two numbers 6 and 9. So the same thing, that is we have to use a cross product rule. For that we have to multiply the product, we have to multiply the extremes. That is product of extremes 6 times y. Product of means, we have to multiply the middle two terms, 9 times 9, it is 81. Okay, now to get the value of y, what we have to do is we have to divide both sides by 6. When I do so, this 6 will cancel out. Okay, now let me divide 81 by 6. When I divide 81 by 6, I am getting 13.5. Okay, now I got the value of y, which is the third proportional to 6 and 9. Okay, now let's add the mean proportional of the first two numbers 7 and the third proportion of the next two numbers 6 and 9, that is 13.5. So 7 positive 13.5, which is equal to 20.5. Therefore, the sum of the mean proportion and the third proportion is 20.5. We find this 20.5 in answer choice A. The correct answer choice for this question is A.